Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda.
So last week we had a quick look at our introductory slides where we just read some points which Srila Prabhupada is making about studying his books. He's saying every day we should study 1 to 2 hours very diligently, and even if you don't understand, we should still read again and again. So we can try to imbibe that principle as much as possible. Also, Srila Prabhupada is talking about the Bhakti Shastri exams. They're very, very important. And most of you have already attended, and some of you will be attending on 25th of February. So we're getting ready for that. Sundar Gopal Prabhu will be creating a group, separate group for those who could not attend the first exam. So all the information will be posted in the other group for you guys. What's the overall purpose of the systematic Shastric studies? I love this, so I'll just read it again. To nurture the evolution of Brahmanical, Krishna conscious leadership, whose members are expert in the study. So that's the one point, very important. Assimilation of Shastric knowledge. So study first and then assimilate first, and proficient in its application. So application, Prabhupada says, is the key. So not only we are studying for the sake of knowledge, we are studying for the sake of knowing Krishna and applying those principles in our life so that we can know Krishna more, we can love Krishna more. So proficient in its application in their own lives, in helping others, and in perpetuating the mission of Srila Prabhupada. So this is very important. And then we were looking at this 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita in a nutshell. So we have covered around 40% of Bhagavad Gita in module 1, and we're targeting to finish 30% in the second module, which is chapter 7 to chapter 12. So first one was Karma Yoga, and second is Bhakti Yoga. Anyone remembers why Bhakti Yoga is kept into the middle? Last week we heard about it.
It's like a jewelry box where the jewelry is in the middle, that way. So the main part is in the middle.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else remember anything else?
Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga are dead without the Bhakti Yoga. So that's why it's placed in the middle.
Very good. Very good. More?
It's highly confidential. Sorry.
Okay. Confidential. Rasanand Prabhuji said, Mahavasur Prabhu?
Prabhu, as you said, it is the secret. So that's why it is in the middle of the Bhagavad Gita, and it is the core of Bhagavad Gita. It actually supports both, as Mataji said, both the Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga.
Yeah. Also, we took another analogy. Anyone remembers?
The sandwich one.
Sandwich. Thank you. Everyone remembers? That's nice. So we call it cheese sandwich, or whatever else, cheeseburger, something. So whatever in the middle, that's what we call it. So this Bhakti Yoga is kept in the middle for many purposes like that. Now, one more thing which we can sort of discuss while we are discussing about this. So when we talk about Karma Yoga, so where does the Karma Yoga take the highest as? It says to Swargaloka. And Jnana Yoga takes highest to as Brahman realization. Ashtanga Yoga takes highest to Paramatma realization. And Bhakti Yoga is the only one which takes us to the Bhagavan realization, which is the topmost. So this Bhakti Yoga is the topmost. And now you can also go to the root of, Karma Marga, Jnana Marga, then Ashtanga Marga, and then take it to Bhakti Marga. Or you can take the direct elevator, as we call it, slow and steady progression, or we can take an elevator, Bhakti Yoga as an elevator, and you can go straight to the top without practicing in detail, at least, Karma Marg, Jnana Marg, Ashtanga Marg, and then taking to Bhakti Marg. Anyone remembers an example, or two examples come to my mind, who were sort of Jnanis before, but later they turned towards Bhakti? Very famous in Srimad Bhagavatam. One or two examples. Kumaras, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Rasan Prabhu.
Sukadev Goswami.
Shukadev Goswami, thank you. So Shukadev Goswami was a Jnani, or Kumaras were Jnani earlier, but later, when they got association of devotees, they turned to Bhagwan realization, Bhakti Marga. So the Bhakti Marga is extremely important, is extremely easy to practice, and Krishna will give its recommendation. Now, if you remember in the 5th chapter, here, so last verse of 5th chapter, okay, I'll not look. Anyone would like to say the last verse of 5th chapter? Very, very famous verse, 529. Anyone? People are thinking. I'm not sure what it was in list, Rupam Prabhu.
Bhaktaram yajna tapasam sarvaloma
Taram
magesam.
yagna tapas.
Hridam sarvabhutanam gyatvam shantim varchit. So if I open this verse on the screen, which I've already opened, what is the last verse of 6th chapter? Anyone else other than Rasanand Prabhu?
योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतेन अन्तरात्मना श्रद्धवान् भजते यो मे सम्ययुक्ततमो.
Thank you, Jai Prakash Prabhuji. So thank you. So 529, if you look in this 529, Gyatva Mam Shantim Rachati. So Krishna described Gyatva Mam. If you know me, you'll get the Shanti, right? So the word Mam is used here. If you look in the 647, Shraddhavan Bhajte Yo Mam. Mam word is again used. Who will do bhajan of me with Shraddha, with faith? Will worship me with faith. Same Ittatamomataha, he is the highest of all the yogis. Now, we have seen the word Mam and Mam used in the Karma Yoga section many times here and there, but not much explanation was given. So what Krishna is going to do, explain about that word Mam in detail. Now, and the starting one is knowledge about the absolute. So you'll get to know many more things about Krishna, which Krishna has not explained as yet in Bhagavad Gita. And you see attaining the supreme, the most confidential knowledge, the opulence of the absolute. So you see knowledge of the absolute, the opulence of the absolute, the universal form, and the devotion service, how to achieve that absolute truth. So this whole section is giving the knowledge about Krishna, how to connect with Krishna, and how to achieve Krishna in a very easy way, which is called the Bhakti Marga. Now, if I start from the 7.1, and before I do that, let's go to my HE handbook. So this chapter 7, which we discussed last week, has 6 sections. And sometimes you'll see 3 sections, sometimes you'll also see 2 sections. They're all okay. It's just more detailed version. That's all it is. So according to MIG guidelines, we have these 6 sections. So first is knowing Krishna full by hearing about him. So this is what we covered last week. Now today, our discussion will start from knowing Krishna as the source of both material and spiritual energies, how Krishna exists in our day-to-day life, how we can remember Krishna in our day-to-day life in a very easy way. Krishna will explain that. 3 modes are controlled by Krishna. So Krishna, although is the creator of the 3 modes, he's not controlled by them. We are controlled by the 3 modes of material nature. So therefore surrender. And then Krishna will explain who will surrender and who does not surrender, and who surrender other than Krishna. That will also be explained. Demigod worshipper and impersonalists. So they do surrender as well, but they do not surrender to Krishna. So that will be explained in 20 to 25. And the last part is bewilderment of the living entity and knowledge of Krishna, which will liberate the living entity. So this is just an overview of the chapter. Now, we started this chapter last week, and I think we covered 7 verses. So let's start from 7.1. Request all of you. Charu Mataji is raising hand. She's very excited looking at this verse, 7.1. So, Mataji, you're on mute. Our senses are limited, so we cannot hear you.
Because you explained it so beautifully last time, it just got embedded in my brain.
I'm just a transmitter. I'm hearing whatever I retain little bit, I try to share. So as I said last time, we are not hearing this class by me, to be very honest. We are hearing from Prabhupada and his representatives. I'm just repeating what I have heard. And also, as I requested all of you, please read the purports of Srila Prabhupada. It's just limitation of time. We cannot read the purports. They are beautiful purports. I myself is reading it. And if you also read and want to share some points, I want to clarify some points with everyone else, it will be very beneficial for all of us. Okay, I'll get to Charu Mataji for 7.1.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjanmadashraya Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yathatnyasasi Tachrunu. So, Prabhu, you said that this is one of the verses on which Srila Prabhupada had given maximum number of classes. And you explained the verse in two ways. So the translation of this verse is, Supreme Personality of Godhead said, now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, and you in full, free from doubt. So Maya Sakta Mana, with your mind attached to me, O Partha, Yogam Yunjan Madashraya. So engage in yoga, take shelter of me. Asamshayam Samagramam. Asamshayam means without doubt. Samagram means completely. So you will become free from all doubt. And Samagram Nyasasi, then you will know me completely. What does it say? Yathat Nyasasi Tachrunu. You will know me completely, but how will you know me? Tachrunu, by hearing about me. And you said that this verse can be understood in two ways. So the main point in this verse is hear, Tachrunu, hear about me. How will all this happen? By hearing. So you said that there are hearing is the main path. Hearing is how should I explain? So here Krishna is saying here that hearing is the path, and by hearing you will also know more about me. And so how do we know that? Once you hear about Krishna is saying, once you hear about me, it's a direct call. He's saying, listen to me. By hearing about me, Arjuna, you'll understand who I am, what I am, and therefore you can move along. And hearing is also a path. And how is that? So you tried to explain this verse by breaking it up and moving it from it was a bottom up approach. So in that you said the flow of the verse was Tachrunu. So Tachrunu means hearing, and by hearing, what will happen? By hearing, we keep on hearing regularly. Then what happens? Nyasasi Samagram. So we know Krishna properly, then we know him completely. And then what happens? Asamshayam. We become free from doubts. In that you also said, the more number of times you read Bhagavad Gita, the more your doubts are resolved automatically. It's not that you don't have any doubts left, but at least the number of doubts decrease as you read this more and more, or as often as you can. And so asamshayams, you'll become free from doubts. The more your knowledge increases, the more doubts decreases, and you get purified. Then what happens? You take ashraya. Ashraya of Sri Krishna. And you also said, referring to chapter 5, that Krishna is Surudam Sarva Bhutanam. He is the greatest well-wisher. So you come to understand this aspect of Krishna's personality better, that he is a well-wisher, the ultimate object of my love, and therefore I need to take shelter of him. And when we take shelter of Krishna, what happens? Yogam Yunjam, shelter of Krishna is just not any, just not an abstract conception. It's actually real. And then when you take shelter of Krishna, then what happens? You start asakta mana. So you start developing an attachment for Krishna. You develop an asakti for him. And therefore in this, but all of this again starts with hearing. So these are the 6 stages. And if we go through these 6 stages, then asakti or perfection, which is our goal, can be attained.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nicely explained. Just on that, maybe someone else can say a few more. What does samagram mean? Mataji already obviously gave a meaning. We can expand on it. Samagram Gyasyasi. So we are trying to understand Krishna in full. That's what the verse says. How do we understand? Someone else can say that.
Prabhu, can I say?
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, Samagram means to know Krishna in as much as our capacity is. We don't need to know more, because how much ever knowledge you have, you can't. Yeah, that's right. And so to know, you don't need to know so much shlokas to understand Krishna, but what is necessary, that is important. So that's Samagram means.
Yeah, thank you. That's very, very important, because no one can know Krishna in full. In 10th chapter, I think I explained last week.
You gave an analogy of bucket.
Sorry, say
you
again.
gave an analogy of a bucket, 4 liter of bucket,
Yes.
it can carry only 4 liter.
Yes, thank you. So if we have a capacity of our bucket is only 4 liter, you can only bring 4 liter milk or water in that bucket. And also, Arjun says, Krishna, only you know yourself in full. No one else can know Krishna in full. And Gaudiya Vaishnavacharya said, even Krishna doesn't know himself in full. So this is a very important term because people sometimes do not understand this samagram word completely. We cannot understand God completely, but we can only understand God completely, which number one is required for us to know. And number two, what is our capacity? Some people will be very intellectual, very intellectual. They know a lot and lot in their head. It does not necessarily mean they are the greatest devotees. They may be devotees, they may not be. So intellectual is also a part of material energy. But if they're using their intellect for Krishna, obviously their intellect is spiritualized. So Krishna does not demand for that. What Krishna demands for your love. So if you understand Krishna, you love Krishna, that's what is needed to establish a relationship with Krishna. And as Mataji very nicely explained, so everything starts from Shunu. Anyone else can give a Bhagavatam reference where Shunu, Shravanam is recommended? Any Bhagavatam reference? There are many. By a devotee or even by Krishna. First canto is there, seventh canto is there.
Prahlad Maharaj says,
Thank you.
the 9 processes of bhakti, and that starts with Shravanam. And also Kunti Maharani says in her verses that Shravanam is the first step, and after that, all the things actually help us to grow in devotional status. That is a verse from Kunti Maharani in Srimad Bhagavatam.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nicely. Charu Mataji also explained Shravanam is the path, listening is the path, and Shravanam shows the path. And Chaitanya Prabhu explains this very nicely. So when we hear about Krishna, or say for any mundane things, that's we want to know more if we are interested in a car or house or some person or money. When we know a little bit, we want to know more. So when we hear a little bit about Krishna, we want to know more. And by hearing more and more and more, what will happen? Ashansham, our doubts will go away. Can anyone explain what are different doubts we have as a devotees? I'm talking, not as a non-devotee.
Prabhu, can I say? Or
Yeah.
it's like we doubt, like, is Krishna there? Is he really there, or is he going to really help me? Am I going to achieve what I have learned so much? So that's the doubts that we have.
Yeah. So we have doubt in the existence of God. We have doubt in the process itself. This Harinam, just taking Harinam, Hare Krishna mantra, I'll reach back to Godhead. I'll get Krishna Prema. So many seniors and so many acharyas, intellectuals have been there in the market just by me saying Hare Krishna. It looks almost unbelievable, actually. Unbelievable. Ajamil's Upakhyan in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Very hard to believe just by saying Narayan. Vishnu Dutas came and they rescued Ajamil. How many times we have said Narayana? And in the verse 6.2, in one of the verses, Vishnu Dutas saying, what to speak of Narayan, even when he said Na, just one akshar, one letter, Na, all his sins were removed. It's written in the verse. So very hard for us to be really believe. So these are the doubts. And then we have doubt the worst doubt we have is in ourselves. Okay, Bhakti process works. Our acharyas are strong enough. That's fine. Prabhupada is strong. Our gurus are strong. Parampara is strong. Krishna is there. But I am so fallen. How can I follow this process and get the perfection? Isn't it? Most of us has this doubt. But acharyas explain we should not have doubt in ourselves. We should have faith in acharyas. So you don't have to doubt yourself or believe yourself. Sometimes we overbelieve. I am a pure devotee. Why you're a pure devotee? I have taken 2 initiations. I'm going to temple for last 20 years. I give donation. I do pranam. I'm a pure devotee. That is also a sort of notion. Some people have. One person was telling me, I'm a pure devotee. And he was serious about it. I'm like, wow. Usually we never hear from a serious, sincere devotee that he is a devotee. He really feels like that. He's not saying it. Anyway, so these sort of doubts we have. So how these doubts will go away? What's the method? Anyone else? Shunu, shunu, shunu. Suno, suno, suno. Hear about what? Someone was saying, if you hear about, Salman Khan, Sachin Tendulkar, you'll get that conscious. So if you hear about Krishna, you become Krishna conscious. And Krishna Das Adhikari Prabhuji said, first you become conscious, then you become Krishna conscious. So it's very important for us to become conscious. Who are we at the moment? What are our responsibilities around us? What we are supposed to do in our life, and what we are seriously should be achieving as a para goal, as a transcendental goal. And how can we do that? So Maharaj said, unless you become conscious, you cannot become Krishna conscious. Many times we are sort of overstepping. We're trying to become devotee, devotee, devotee. Everyone is in Maya, Maya, Maya. Hang on a second. First become conscious. And it's a big sentence in itself. Who are we? I'm talking even materially speaking, what we are supposed to do. And we have to fulfill our duties. And while fulfilling our duties, we have to try to develop love of God within this cell. Chaitanya very clearly says we cannot escape our responsibilities. You have to do that as best as possible. So become conscious and then become Krishna conscious. It will be a much better approach, mature approach, sustainable approach. And finally, the result will be, as Charu Mataji said, our goal will be achieved. Maya asakt manaha. This goal is given in Bhagavad Gita in another famous verse. Anyone can say that verse? The same goal is given in Bhagavad Gita in another verse, extremely famous verse. 1865. Mana bhav madbhakto. The first request, demand, you can say Krishna is making. Man mana, give your mind to me. Why is talking about mind again and again? Become attached to me. Why? Because this is our default situation in the material world. Our mind is not attached to Krishna. Our mind is attached. You cannot say it's not attached. Super attached. But super attached to what? Our mundane things. So Krishna is saying, give your mind to me, become attached to me. You don't have to become attached to this, temporary sand castles. We become very much attached to these temporary sand castles. Many of the devotees have young kids. They go to the beach, they make a sand castle. But when Mama and Papa says, let's go home, it's been a while, they may negotiate. Mama another 10 minutes, Papa another 10 minutes. But eventually they know they have to go home. So they don't become over-attached to the sand castle. So similarly, we can learn from our kids. We don't have to become over-attached, unduly attached to these sand castles of this body and this bodily possessions. And then once we understand our position, temporary position is also important. It's not ultimately important. We have to do what we have to do. So eventually you, by listening about Krishna, will become attached to Krishna, which is the reality, ultimate reality. Okay. Thank you. Very, very important verse. As Mataji said, Prabhupada gave maximum number of classes. Why? Because Prabhupada wanted to establish. So this verse explains the process and the goal. Very, very important and very easy process. You don't have to, go to the gym and start lifting 50 kilos of weight every day. Prabhu, I can't lift 50 kilos. Oh, you are not qualified to be a devotee. Nothing like that. Everyone has a birthright. It's a birthright to become a devotee because we are all part and parcel of Krishna. And Krishna keeps everyone in mind. He's very inclusive. And he says everyone can become a devotee. Even Sri Ram says the Vibhishan surrendered to Sri Ram, and the army of Ram, except Hanuman, was a little doubtful. So Ram says, Sakrat e prapannoyam, tab asmai iti yachate, Sakrat eva. Keval ek bar, even if someone surrenders to me, and from the heart he says, Tab asmai, main aapka hu, I am yours, O my Lord. From the heart. So if we cannot say by heart, at least we should say with the mouth. When we go in front of Gopinath, we should say, Gopinath, I am yours, I am yours, I am yours. One day feeling will come. One day feeling will come. And finally, Lord Ram or Krishna says, I will take care of you. I will take care of you. Bhagavad Gita, same 1866. Okay, let's read 7.2. Who would like to read that? Tanya Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So verse Jnanam te aham savignanam.
So, sorry, we'll just read the translation. I know Charu
Okay.
you read the verse. In the
Okay,
revision, we only read the translation and we just give the quick points and move along.
I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. So in this verse, Krishna explains the rarity of knowledge, and he explains the two types of knowledge being phenomenal and numinous. Phenomenal means what appears to our eyes, and numinous means what the reality is. So yeah, he explains these types of knowledge which can be attained through yoga practice.
Yep. So what does a general meaning? So obviously Prabhupada take a little slight different updated version of the translation of Gyan and Vigyan. What is the general meaning of Gyan and Vigyan? Anyone?
Knowledge and realization.
Knowledge and realization. Thank you. Another meaning which Tanya Mataji explains is phenomenal knowledge and numinous knowledge. Phenomenal is what appears to our eyes, and numinous is what is the reality. Many times they can be very, very different. What is the other meaning of Gyan and Vigyan?
So there's another meaning explained by Acharyas that phenomenals are greater knowledge, and numinous are more of a sweetness, greatness and sweetness.
Thank you. So it's Aishwarya Gyan. This is given to Baldev Vidya Bhushan. So
Yeah.
Gyan refers to the Aishwarya Gyan. Aishwarya Gyan means how Krishna is great. You know, Virat Rupa of Krishna, you can say, huh? He can do anything. He's all powerful. He's omnipotent and all that. That's Aishwarya Gyan. And Vigyan refers to the sweetness of Krishna. Krishna becomes the son of Nanda Maharaj. He carries the paduka, the shoes of Nanda Maharaj on the head. Krishna get bound by Mother Yashoda. So it's not Madhurya Leela Gyan. Madhurya Leela Gyan means Ras Leela and all that. That's not like Madhurya Gyan, sweetness. Although he's God, he's so great, he's the highest, he's the topmost, but he becomes the servant of the devotees. Huh? He's in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he's feeding water, he's feeding grass to the horses. Huh? He's giving water to the horses. He's become a sarthi, he's become a chariot driver. Is that taxi drivers are a very important, recognized position in this country or in any country? Not really, huh? Taxi drivers are not considered to be like the very highly elevated position, socially speaking. But Krishna accepted that position. Why? Because he wanted to show his sweetness. Huh? My devotees are trying to serve me, and what I'm trying to do, serve my devotees. His relation with Bhishma on the battlefield. So many examples with Prahlad. He's so sweet. So Baldev Vidyabhushan tells, as Rasanand Prabhuji was explaining, so Gyan refers to his Aishwarya Gyan, his opulence Gyan, which we'll read in chapter 10 and 11, for example, and Vigyan refers to his sweetness. So Bhagavatam is filled with those instances where Krishna is very sweetly reciprocating with his devotee. So we have read sort of three different translations of Gyan and Vigyan. Now let's look at the second line. Idam Vakshami Asheshta. So I will speak Asheshata, I will speak everything. Can Krishna speak everything? So we should refer it back to the 7.1. What the meaning was samagram, complete. Complete means what's needed, what can be understood. So similarly, Asheshata. It says Sheshanag is trying to explain the glories of Krishna by his unlimited mouth for the unlimited thousands of years, and he is not able to finish the glories of Krishna. So who can finish the glories of Krishna? Huh? So Asheshta word also has to be understood in the same context. Now, what will be the result? So if you understand this, so Jnana is a piece of information, Vijnana is, if you understand it, realize it, what will be the result? Yaj gyatva, if you know this, bhuyo anya, then you will not be in need of knowing anything else. Gyatva avisheshat, gyatavyam avisheshat, you will not need to know anything else. Now, it doesn't mean if you know how to make dal or aloo tomato sabji, then you don't need to make to learn how to make kadhi. No, it's not like that. It's about realizing Krishna. And His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj, in a class, he said, most of us, we talk in devotee congregation, we can say, most of us know Krishna is great. We know that Krishna is very great. But Maharaj said, once you know how great he is, you will have no other choice except to love him. Many times we don't know how great Krishna is. Many times, in Hindi movies, some teenager boys or girls, or very young boys and girls, they go against their parents and they say, oh, what have you done for me, my father or mother? But they don't know, or they don't realize how much sacrifices their parents have done for their kids since the time of a little baby coming in the womb of the mother. Mother and father, practically speaking, they give their life. They give all their nice comforts to look after a little baby. And then the baby grows up. They don't realize, they forget everything. Similarly, we are also like those babies who many times, but not all the times, forget what Krishna is doing for us, what he has done for us. Once we understand it, some heroine or hero in the movie realizes the sacrifices other person has done. Oh, I didn't know about it, huh? And then the love comes out. So similarly, when the jiva realizes how much Bhagwan has been doing, is still doing, even if you abuse Krishna, if you don't consider Krishna, Krishna still gives us sunlight, he gives water, he gives air, everything. No matter what a jiva does, what a baby does, mother and father is always the suhrid of that baby. Similarly, Krishna is always the suhrid. But once we understand how much he has done, Maharaj said, you have no other choice except to love Krishna. You will just naturally love Krishna. That's why it's very important for us to know about Krishna from pure devotees, because once they describe Krishna's glory, it goes in our heart, and then we start loving Krishna. All our anathas goes down. So it's very important. What's the result? Yaj gyatva. Once you know that, you will not need to know. What it means, you will not have any desire to know anything else. Right now, if we are know one language, sometimes people want to know another language. Someone learning Japanese, I know. Someone learning another language, this language, and they want to know more. They want to know about this culture, that culture, this and that. But there's nothing much to know once you know the relation of a jiva and Krishna. You may know if you need to know, but you don't desire to know. That's the main thing. So once you know that relationship, you like, that's it. I don't need to explore anything else. Once Prabhupada was told in Switzerland, this is the most beautiful country of the world. People come here for relaxation. And Prabhupada said, in this material world, every place is a suffering in another form. In this material world, every place is a suffering in another form. Now, Switzerland may have their own complexities, but it's also a suffering. Now, suffering which may exist in Australia and America may not exist there. I don't know. Maybe there as well. There will be some common miseries and some uncommon miseries. But there will be a misery, because from the topmost planet of Brahma to downmost to the smallest earth, and everyone is feeling that misery in the material world. So it has to be one of the miseries in another form. Okay, 7.2. Thank you, Tanya Mataji. 7.3, another very famous verse.
Prabhu, can I ask a very quick question?
Sure, Mataji.
So I was listening to Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's Bhakti Shastri class on this one, these 4, 5, 6 verses together. And in that he explains, he says that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, as Rasanand Prabhu was saying, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur describes Gyan as Aishwarya and Vijnan as Madhurya. And then he goes on to say that Gyan is described in Aishwarya Gyan is described in chapter 7 and 8 of Bhagavad Gita, and he says that Madhurya Gyan is described in chapter 9, and both of them are described in chapter 10 and 12. So how is Madhurya described in 9 and 11, 12? My understanding of Madhurya is Yashoda Maya and Krishna.
So as I was speaking earlier, Mataji, so Madhurya here means sweetness of the Lord. Sweetness means how he loves his devotees. So we have so many verses in 9th chapter, especially towards the end of it, Mataji, like 926, Patra Pushpam Phalam Toyam, 929, Apche Suduracharo Bhajte Mam Ananya Bhag, those sort of verses, Chipram Bhakti Dharmatma. 931, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written very beautiful commentary on Chipram Bhakti Dharmatma. We'll discuss when we reach there. So actually those verses actually says by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, 931, Chipram Dharmatma is the verse for the gopis. So in Bhagavad Gita also, there are many places where our Rasik Acharyas have described the interpretation of those verses in a very Rasik or in a sweet way. That's why Chaitanya Prabhu has said 9th chapter is describing the sweetness, although it does describe in the beginning part Aishwarya as well. If you see in the beginning of the verses, they are Aishwarya. But later, after 925, 26, you will start seeing a series of verses where Krishna is showing the love for his devotee. Where he says, I love my devotee. What's that verse? 929. I'm equal to all, but I'm unequal to my devotees. What's the beginning of that verse? Samoham sarubhuteshu. Samoham sarubhuteshu. Name deshasu name priyaha. That verse. So I'm equal to everyone, but my devotees, I love them. And then he said, Apche Sudaracharo. Even if you do the most abominable act, I love you, because you're doing my bhakti. So who else can say, other than a father, a sweet father who always loves their kids? And he says, Shipram Bhavati Dharmatma. Even if you have become Adharmatma, you will become Shipram very, very fast. You will become Dharmatma. Dharmatma is a big word. Big word. He's using it for Sudurachari. Now we are all, in one sense, Durachari at least, sometimes Sudurachari as well. But Krishna is saying, no problem, no problem. You are my loving kid. I accept you all. So Krishna loves us all. That is the sweetness of Krishna. Is it okay? And we'll also see a glimpses in chapter 10 and 11. We'll see that. Like you can say Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, the last one. Actually, the third verse of Chatushloki. That's a sweetness of Krishna. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yenamamu piyandate satatam kirtayanto mam. So he said, you do my kirtan, I will give you intelligence, you'll come back to me. Now, who will say that? Now, is Krishna, in one sense, many times we get fed up with our loved ones sometimes. And you say, okay, Baba, whatever you want to do, you do in your life, leave me alone, leave me in peace. Sometimes we say like that, we get frustrated. Krishna never gets frustrated with us. We do so much nonsense. Many nonsense we remember. Most of us, we don't remember in millions of lives how much nonsense we have done. So, yeah, but Krishna still says, no problem, my boy. Dadami buddhyam. You just do my kirtan. And then he does Santam Kirtan Tomam, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he comes in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Satatam Kirtan Tomam. Satam means always, always, always. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes and he said, 1 lakh naam, 64 rounds. Every day you do 64 rounds. So Satatam being reduced to 8 hours. 24 hours reduced to 8 hours. And then Prabhupada comes very lovingly, mercifully reduce 8 hours to 2 hours. We're still negotiating. Solamala, why Solamala? Why 16 rounds? Why not 8? Especially the generation which is coming after us, Charu Mataji. They are negotiating. 4 mein nahi chalega. Is 4 not enough? Constantly, coming down and down. Acharya is also coming down because they know these are so rascals. Inka kuch nahi hone wala. So the mercy is coming down and down and down. And when Prabhupada says 16, Krishna says, okay, I said Satatam, but I take my statement back. My devotee Prabhupada is saying 16, 2 hours, chalega. 2 hours to achhe se karo. At least you do 2 hours japa nicely. We still do in car, in shopping mall, in park, in walking, talking. My Guru Maharaj is saying they have this japa walk, but they don't have japa walk. They have japa talk. I think Mahatma Prabhu says that. Sorry, Mahatma Prabhu. Japa, it's not japa walk, it's japa talk. And I saw one devotee, my Guru Maharaj, I was with Guru Maharaj in Sydney in a park, and one devotee there was jogging, and he had his bead bag in his hand, and he was chanting while jogging. He said, I have seen people walking and chanting, but jogging and chanting, wow, new form of japa. I think Mahatma Prabhu has 12 to 20 different types of japas. So it's very difficult, very, very difficult. That's the sweetness of Krishna. Even a fallen souls like many of us, if not all of us, Krishna loves them. He says, you can come back to me, no problem. Okay, sorry, I got a little distracted by this beautiful question. Sweetness of Krishna described in Bhagavad Gita. Okay, let's go to 7.3. Who wants to do that? Rupam Prabhu is ready. Bol diya hai.
No problem. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So, Manushyanam Sahasreshu. So, as Krishna says, out of Sahasra means thousands and thousands of men. There will be one who would be Kaschit Yayati Siddhaye, who would be endeavoring to achieve perfection. It's a sort of filtration process. It starts with thousands of men trying. Out of that, one is trying to achieve perfection, and out of those thousands of men who achieved perfection, one hardly knows me in truth. So as the translation goes, out of thousands and thousands of men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So quite straightforward, Prabhu, that it's not easy to know Krishna in totality. One thing which you explained last time was also the 4 types of Krishna prema that we know is one who to love Krishna. Second, those who love Krishna. Third is those who are aspiring to love Krishna, and those who are loved by Krishna. So we fall in the first category who are trying to love Krishna.
Yeah. So it's not 4 types of Krishna prema. It's the definition of Krishna prema. Definition of Krishna prema, which includes 4 types of people. So one is who love Krishna, as you said. One is to love Krishna. Second is those who love Krishna. Third is those who aspire to love Krishna. And the fourth is whom Krishna loves. Krishna loves all his kids, all his kids. So we have no right in that sense to upset any kid of Krishna. Because then Krishna will get upset. Like someone upsets your kid, you'll become upset because naturally you love your kid. I can see Abhayan, happily playing. If he gets disturbed, parents will get disturbed. Why are you hurting my baby? Okay, very nice. Now, one quick thing, Rupam, what does this Manishanam Sahasreshu mean? You said thousands, that's a translation, but what does it mean as per Prabhupada, which you discussed last time?
So out of thousands of men,
Yeah,
and
so-
he's referring to men only, not any other species. And yeah, out of like total, he's handpicking
Yeah.
men who are handpicked from normal karmis
Yes.
and non-devotees and
Thank you,
karmis
Prabhuji.
and everything. Yeah,
That's what I was getting.
entire cohort. Yeah, there is only
So karmis and non-devotees, and as Prabhupada writes here, which we discussed last time, most of them are engaged in eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. Most of us. And we can see it around very, very clearly. What to speak of seeing it around, we can apply in ourselves. How much devotee we are in 24 hours, isn't it? How many times we are involved blindly in these activities, and how many hours or minutes, rather, sometimes even seconds, are consciously trying to become a devotee. So it's a very, very sort of normal thing these days to be involved in these four activities. And very abnormal if you start, doing japa, have a tilak, kanti, kurta, dhoti, neighbors will laugh at you, family will laugh at you. पागल हो गया है ये अब नॉर्मल नहीं रहा ब्रेन वॉश्ड पर्सन इसको ऑन वाले ब्रेन वॉश करते हैं so many brainwashes case. Anyway, so this is what it means. So if you are engaged in the normal, so-called normal activity, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, you are amongst those thousands of people. But if you try to come out, you're trying to endeavor, who am I, why I'm suffering, what I'm supposed to do after death, all those questions, then that's what Krishna is saying. Kashit. Very few will have these questions. You go to the uni, you sell, what do you call it? Hot dog and hamburger and whatnot. You'll have queues and queues and queues. We start selling Hare Krishna halwa, selling, not distributing, selling. Very few will come. Very few. Free distribution, everyone comes. So Prabhupada ji कहते थे ना, this knowledge, Prabhupada said in one of the quotes, I think Shamati Mataji sends these quotes every day. So one of the quotes Prabhupada said, if they come to your temple, you give them free class, but if you go to them, you should charge them. Prabhupada said very clearly. Why? Not because of money generation, because they will respect that knowledge more. That's why they say don't distribute books for free many times. You charge them. Why? Because when you charge them, they will respect the book. They will read the book. So because Kali Yuga. Okay. Taptata, word taptata being used in Bhagavad Gita elsewhere, Bhagavatam elsewhere. Reference, quick.
4.9 and 4.34.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice. And who will say 4.9 and 4.34? Patafat.
Janma karma cha me divyam evam yogati tatvata.
Thank you, Mataji.
Tatvati param dharma.
Naiti Mabeti Sorjana. Thank you, Mataji. 434.
Tadvini pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti ne jnanam jnanina tattva darshina.
क्या बात है सारे ज्ञानीज बैठे हुए हैं all scholarly devotees sitting around. Thank you so much. It's very nice. Bhagavatam reference, Charu Mataji. 1.1.11. Okay, look in Google. That's okay. Vadanti tattvavidas. Tattvavidas word is used. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagwan iti Shabdiyet. That very famous Prabhupada is quoting again and again and again. Anyway, that's all right. It's not going to come in the exam. Good to know. Bhakti Shastris are supposed to know a few basic things. Okay, let's move forward. 7.
Prabhu, I have a question, please. Can I ask?
Yes, Mahavasu Prabhuji.
Prabhu, here Krishna is saying that Kinchit Mam Veti Tatvata. That means he says that hardly one knows me in truth, right?
Yeah.
Now, when Krishna is speaking, people from say Jnana Kanda or Karma Kanda, right? How would they know in Tatvata to Krishna? It's not possible because it says the person has to be 100% surrendered to Krishna, then Krishna reveals, right? Because that is what is explained in 18th chapter. Now,
He is
no
omnipotent.
one can know Krishna in Tattvata unless Krishna reveals himself. So here, how does this verse actually make any sense in knowing Krishna in Tattvata? Because Tattvata is a very high philosophy. Not anyone can know it. It's impossible. I'm
Yeah.
sorry if I'm offending, but
No,
that's
no,
what my understanding is.
no,
Sorry,
no.
Prabhu. Can you please explain on this? Because this verse is at a very low level, and Krishna is saying that they will know in Tattvata. That means everyone has to go to that level to know Krishna in Tattvata. It's not possible. I'm sorry. So
But-
can you explain on this? It's
Yeah.
a very confusing one. Sorry.
Okay, I thought it's very straightforward. So basically, Krishna is giving sort of a pyramid, Prabhuji. And we all understand the pyramid. There's like triangles. So at the bottom, you have a lot more entities, and then they get filtered. I was speaking about, I think, CA exam, if I'm not wrong. So like 400 or IIT exam. 400,000 people sit to appear in the exam, and how many pass? Probably 4,000. And there may be another interview process and all those things. Anyway, so Krishna is saying there are thousands and thousands of people, which are all my kids, but they are involved in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Out of those, few, very few, tries to know me, like you and me. For example, I shouldn't say you and me, but many of us trying to know Krishna. We don't know Krishna. We are trying to know a little bit here and there, some drops here and there. We're trying to know Krishna. But out of us, say, ISKCON congregation, how many advanced devotees who really love Krishna? Very, very few, right? Suppose I'm just making a number based on Gauranga Prabhu. There are 100,000 devotees around the world. Initiated devotees, I mean, there are many followers, but 100,000, roughly speaking, initiated devotees are there. So out of 100,000, they are all not Krishna premis as yet, right? They're in the queue as yet. So what's the population of the world? You probably know better than me, 7.5 billion, if I'm not wrong, something like that. Out of 7.5 billion, how many initiated devotees? 100,000. So what's the percentage, Rupam Prabhu? I don't know even. Huh? Not even 1%, Prabhu. Huh? Not even 1%. So you can say we are trying to know Krishna in a formalized way. And many devotees blooped out and all that. You take that out of the equation. We're trying to know. Now, how many of us know? How can you play? So it's very straight pyramid, Prabhuji. Now, that unless you know Tattvataha, you're not able to go back to God. Guru Maharaj says you have to have Krishna Prema before you can enter inside the gate. That's the ticket. That's a ticket. Anyone been to Wet and Wild? I have been. I'm sure many of you have been. Rupam Prabhu, you haven't been? You haven't got in touch with Asim Prabhu as yet.
Yes,
He gets us the ticket.
We went together, bro.
We went together. That's what I'm saying. You know, we went. Anyway, so what I'm saying, so we've gone to Wet and Wild, but can you enter Wet and Wild without a valid ticket? Like, not normally, right? You do some this. So you have to have a ticket. Now, how you obtain the ticket, that's different. Like, but you have to pay like $70, $80 or something like that to get inside that premises, to be able to enjoy those facilities. But if you don't have that $80, what do you go? What do you do? At least in our community, we go to Asim Prabhu. Prabhuji, here's my photo. And I am a volunteer worker in Hare Krishna organization for, sorry, I'm revealing the facts here. And then a person like Asim Prabhu, he makes us a card. So similarly, we all take an entrance into this organization made by Prabhupada, and Prabhupada or his representative, they know hamare paas paise nahi hai, we don't have money, we don't have spiritual money, we are very poor, very, very poor. Materially, you may be rich. Spiritually, we are not so rich. So then we go to Prabhupada or our Guru Maharaj and say, please bachalo, please save us. He make our card and then he will entitle us to go inside. On our own money, we can't go. We have very little money. So Krishna is saying to know me is not true. And Guru Maharaj says, if you don't have Krishna Prema, it can be given on the door. It can be given. So when you are on the Wet and Wild gate, you can say, oh, I don't have it. And the gatekeeper somehow or other knows your boss. Your boss means your guru. And he said, oh, I know that person. He's a great devotee. Oh, you are his children. Okay. Although you are rascal, but your guru, your spiritual master, Prabhupada, he is a very great devotee. We have a lot of respect for him. Okay, I'll let you in. I'll let you in. Is it okay, Master Prabhu? So this is how the progression will happen.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
There's another verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Brahman Brahmite Kaun Bhagyavan Jeev. Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Visha. So we are doing Brahman in Brahmanda. Similarly, Manushyanam Sahasreshu. Thousands and millions and zillions of birth we have spent. Some birth, some by some other good pious deed, we got in touch with some devotee. So we started knowing Krishna. We entered into this sort of society and we are trying to achieve that Tattvataha. which is what we are trying to do by every single chanting, reading, listening, service to Krishna, service to Vaishnavas. We are trying to know one thing only, Tattvataha. That's the endeavor, and hopefully one day it will happen. Okay, I saw one hand earlier. I don't see it. Sakhi Radhika Mantra is all right. Okay. Let's move forward. 7.4. So what was 7.1 to 7.3? Anyone? What was the section here? 1 to 3? The glories about the knowledge of Krishna. The glories. Now, it's not the knowledge about Krishna, it's the glories of the knowledge about Krishna. Like in India, we have Satyanarayana Katha. Satyanarayana Katha, many times people consider there's a Katha, but his Katha explains the glories of the knowledge about Krishna. No, it's not the Katha about Krishna. It's a Katha about devotees, but not about Krishna. So it explains the glories about. So what we have read, glories. Who will know, who will not know? If you know, what will happen, like that. Now get inside, know about Krishna. Now, first section, 4 to 7, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4 verses will talk about Krishna is the source of all material and spiritual energies. And then from 8 onwards, we'll see how he is present amongst all of us right now. 8 to 12. Okay, so let's read 7.4. We have done it already, so anyone else can do who has not done as yet. Now, so Prabhu, not sure whether you were there in the last class.
So, Prabhu, I was there, but to be honest, I need a lot of explanation on this verse.
Okay, no
honestly,
problem. No problem. Jai Prakash Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so the translation by Prabhupada is earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, and intelligence, and false ego. All together, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. So this verse is talking about Lord's energies, like what are the various, first is at the gross level, all 5 elements which are part of any of the creation or jivas. So all of them are originated from Krishna. And in Vedas, they explain the other way around, like they say from space, it's in the reverse order. So from the space comes the air, from the air comes the fire, from the fire comes the water, and from the water, earth. So all these are originated basically from Krishna's energy. And similarly, the subtle forms, which are mind, intelligence, ego, they also are kind of comes from Krishna. And it has been specifically mentioned like they are the separated material energies. It is example like spider, when it spins off spider web, the spider web is outside the spider, but it still comes from this Krishna. And the other example, I think, which we discussed in the last class is the milk. When milk energy is actually belongs to the cow, but when the milkman churns it, like when he takes that out, so that milk is considered like a separated energy. Similarly, all these 8 constitute like lots separated material energies.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice. So now this 7.4 is talking about the material energy, and as Prabhuji nicely said, separated. And Prabhupada gives an example of cow. What's another example Prabhupada gives for separated energy, which we discussed last time? Yes,
Prabhupada speaking his lectures.
Thank you. Thank you. The recordings of Prabhupada. Prabhupada is not physically present in the recording. It's Prabhupada's energy. He has spoken it. Cow's milk is cow's energy, but it's separated. Now, in one sense, Krishna is telling this example for our understanding, but in one sense, Krishna is never separated from his energies as well. Krishna is still present. But for our understanding, we are picking these examples. Cow is separated from the milk, but is Krishna separated from his energy? Never, in that sense, right? So Krishna is in Goloka Vrindavan, as well as he's present in Bhumi, Apo, Anulo, Vayu, Kaman, Mano, Bhitirecha. He's present everywhere. Thank you. Now, just on that, just as a side thing, we talk about 24 elements. So what are the 24 elements? We should know in a nutshell. So in Sankhya, we talk about 24 elements. In this verse, 8 elements are explained. Ashtadha, 8, art. What are the rest of the 16 elements? You can do a quick one.
Jnanendriyas.
Jayaprakash, yes, tell me please again.
Sorry, Karmendriyas and Jnanendriyas.
5 Karmendriyas are there. Thank you. 5 Jnanendriyas are there. Thank you. And Rasan Prabhuji, next 5.
Tanmatras,
Tanmatras, which are the object of the
Yes.
senses, right?
Sense
15,
object.
another 5. 5 is 15. Karmendriya, Gyanendriya, Tanmatras.
This
Mind.
these 5 things: earth, water, fire.
We are looking at the verse actually. So next 5 are, these are the Panch Mahabhut. Huh? So 5 plus 5 plus 5 is 20.
20.
Rest?
4.
Plus the subtle 3, mind, intelligence, and also.
This is also given in the verse. 23. Another one. Modes of material nature. Huh? So 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, 23 are Man, Buddhi, Ahankar, and the last is 24. So sometimes in Sankhya, atheistic Sankhya, they call about 24 elements, Chaubis Tattva. So these are the Chaubis Tattva. But they are called atheistic philosophy. Why they called atheistic? Because they do not have a place for soul or super soul in the list. So soul sits as 25th and super soul sits as 26th. Unless you, because this is all matter, unless you have the presence of soul or super soul, because soul again is a representation of Krishna in one sense, part and parcel of Krishna, we cannot call that philosophy as a theistic philosophy unless they have the presence of Krishna there. So 24 elements, just a side thing we should know.
Sorry, Prabhu, what Tanmatra you said?
Tanmatra is the object of senses. Like eyes is one of the Gyanendriyas. It receives the Jnana. Maybe we can quickly explain as well. So what are the 5 Gyanendriyas? We'll all know. Quick. So eyes, Gyanendriya, we see from the eyes, we receive, oh, there's a threat coming. So it's called Gyanendriya. It gets the knowledge. And Shravanendriya, our ears, they're also Gyanendriya. Woo, 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 woo. There's ambulance coming or police car coming, move out. This is also Gyanendriya. What other Gyanendriya we have?
Nose, mouth, skin.
Both smell, all right. Get out from here. What other Gyanendriyas we have? Skin, touch, very hot, very cold. Get out from here. Yep. What else?
And mouth, tongue.
Tongue. They're all Gyanendriyas. Karmendriyas, which we perform. Can you perform an action by the eye? Not really. You can blink your eyes. You can signal someone from the eyes. Not real function. So we need hands. This is called Karmendriya. Karma, we perform actions. What are the other Karmendriyas we have?
Legs.
Hands, legs, mouth, rectum, genitals.
Thank you. Who's speaking? Manohar Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji. ये पूरे biology के master है. Fata. Any body thing, go to Manohar Prabhu. So you got 5 Karmendriya, we got 5 Gyanendriya, and Tanmatras. Who will explain Tanmatras very quickly? Object of the sense. What does eye see? A form. What does ear listen? A sound. What do we taste? Some objects. So taste is the sense of object for the tongue. And touch. By touch, we know something. And what else is there? And by smell. So these are the 5 Tanmatras or object of the senses. And Panchamahabhut, we all know Panchamahabhut written in the verse. And we know 3, Man, Buddhi, Ahankar. And 24th is, who will say quickly? 24th element is modes of material nature. And 25th is
Soul.
And super soul. So depending on which philosophy you take, these 24 elements will be common. So if there are only 24 elements and Krishna is not present in any form, soul or super soul, we call that even a Vedic as an atheistic philosophy. So Krishna is saying this is Bhinna, separated, my energy. 7.5 explains what? Anyone remembers? 7.4 explains about the material energy. 7.5 explains about the higher energy. Now let's look at higher. There are 2 types of higher energy. So as Prabhupada said many times, so Krishna has internal potency, Krishna has external potency, and the third one is marginal. Marginal means ना तो बीच में नहा रहे हैं और ना ही बीच पर है, बीच में है, बीच पर है. You know, you're on the beach, but you're in the middle. You're not even taking bath, you're not out, beach mein hai. Tatastha, marginal. We can go towards spiritual side or we can move towards material side. So this verse explains which energy of Krishna? 7.5 out of these 3 which we said. So 7.4 explains the external, 7.5 explains the Tatastha, marginal. Okay, let's read that. Who will do this? Sakhi Radhika Mataji, I'm not sure whether you were there last class.
Sorry, Prabhu.
No problem. All good. I think the devotees are also not there. So we go to Manmohan Prabhu. 7.5.
So I was in and out, but I'll try.
No problem. If you want to, Prabhu, up to you.
Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So in this, it's about us, the Jivatmas. We are the marginal energy. We have a choice of either, attaining the superior position, going back to spiritual world, or we can stay here in the material world. So we are at the margin, and like we are Asankhya, um, like infinite, and we are all parts and parcels of Krishna. So Krishna creates us for his own pleasure and to exchange the rasas, and so we somehow choose to come to this material world to enjoy separate from Krishna, and that's how we end up here. And we are now marginal, like at the, we have a choice of either going back or staying here. So that's my understanding, Prabhu, in just, but I might have missed a few points which you explained last time.
That's okay. So Prabhuji very nicely explained about the marginal potency. Let's get back to this verse because the theme here is a little different. So apara iyam. What does apara iyam mean? Maybe Ragvi Mataji can help. No? Okay. I'm not sure Vinay Prabhu was there. So we go to Satyabhama Mataji. So apara iyam. What does apara iyam mean?
So inferior,
yes,
inferior energy of the
so
Lord.
EF
Like
means this one which you're talking, 7.4, and apara, inferior. Para is superior. So we'll read this word para and apara so many places in Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. So one apara, aprapadais is inferior. So there is another word we use is para. So there, if there's apara, there will be para. If there's a lower, there will be higher. Huh? It's all relative. So apareyam itastu anyam. What does anya signifies here? Not the meaning, significance.
So, I'm sorry, Prabhuji.
That's okay, Mataji. That's okay. I know you were looking after your little one last week. That's fine. Anya refers to other. So besides this, what we just spoke with 7.4, Bhumira Purnalo Vayu, there is another one. Very, very clear. Very, very clear. So that what is that we don't know, but in this line it says there is another. There's another. In the next line it says Me Paraham. So that one is higher than this. So you can say, I have another house somewhere which is bigger than this house. Rupam Prabhu, is it correct? Maybe. Why not? At least we can wish. So I have this house, that's fine. So Krishna is saying, I have this house, this is my house, this is material world is my house, but there is another one. In the first line it says that Anyam. So very, very clearly, we do not belong here. We do not belong here. We just temporarily residing. Like many devotees went to India for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks. That's not, at this stage at least, it's not our permanent place of residence. That's our Radha Gopinath temple. We belong to Radha Gopinath. We go to Radha Shyam Sundar, we go to Radha Parsarthi, but we come back to Radha Gopinath. This is our Janani, Janmabhumi. Very nice. So Aparayam, and that one is Para. So he's saying that house, that one, whatever, marginal, is bigger, is higher. Who's that? Jiva Bhuta. Very important word. Jiva Bhuta Mahabaho. Yeah, and what is the jivas are doing? Dharyate Jagat. What does Dharyate signifies? Anyone? So it's a simple meaning. Sustain. Yes. What does it mean?
It's utilized or exploited. So the example which you had given in a hospital, like patients need to be there so that they can come over their illness and come out of the world. Similarly, this material world has been created such that living entities can overcome their lower modes of nature and eventually move to the ultimate mode with lots more.
Yeah, and the example of hospital or of jail. Because of prisoners, prison exists. If prisoners were not there, prison will not be existing. So in one sense, government makes the prison, government makes all the facilities, but for whom? For prisoners, for antisocial elements. So if antisocial elements were not there, government will not be bothering about making prisons and spending money in that part, but they do. So we can say from that perspective, prisoners are the cause of prison. Is that right? Not that prisons are making the prison, but prisoners are the cause of prison. So similarly, jivas like us, who are like lower jivas, are the cause of the material world. Now, we have not created it. We are not ultimate controller of this, but because of us, Krishna has created, like your boy or girl want to play in a certain park. So you say, okay, aaj wale park mein jayenge, aaj wale park mein jayenge. I'll get you this toy, that toy. Based on the desire of your boy or girl, you will facilitate him or her like that. So we are, as Prabhupada writes, in a very nice way, exploiting the resources of this material nature. An example given was a fly which got stuck in a spider web. The fly, the more the fly wants to come out, it gets stuck more and more into the web. Okay, let's move to 7.6. It's a nice one. Who hasn't done as yet? I can see Sundar Gopal Prabhu, if you want to. I know last week he was also a little bit in and out. If you like.
At that time, I was a little away.
No problem. Absolutely fine, Prabhuji. I will. Jamvati Mataji, I'm not sure whether you were there last week.
Prabhu, I was had to go early.
No problem.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Now we got Charu Mataji, which I'm sure is always ready. Mataji, you're on mute. I wish this mute unmute happens by the desire.
No.
No? Okay. Sometimes we make mistake. Huh?
Sorry, you were saying?
Mataji, you want to do a revision of 7.6?
I
We had to
don't.
come to you because we have sort of done first cycle. Now, next one is Tanya Mataji in the cycle. See, on the screen, I just follow whatever is.
So can I skip this one?
You can skip this one because
Thank
Tanya
you.
Mataji would love to do this one.
Yes.
She's looking me in the very, different. Why
I-
this one?
Yeah, I wasn't paying too much attention,
Okay,
Prabhuji,
no problem. So, no
during the
problem.
service.
Rasan and Prabhuji, would you like to do that? He's also smiling.
Yes, Prabhu, I also have no notes on this. Okay, anyway, I can try. Okay, translation. All created beings have the sources in these two natures of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world. Know for certain that I am the origin and the dissolution. So this was as in the continuation of 7.4 and 5. So he's saying he is the source of both the inferior energy and the superior energy, the para and apara, which we are explaining. So he says the etat yoni. So he is the source of the birth of these two natures. So two natures of everything, Bhutani, that is everything is creating all, Sarvani, everything, Sarvani all, and Bhutani is everything which is created. So he is trying to tell to Arjuna that you should know this. So Aham, I am the source of these two from this world. And this refers to one of the verses in the 10th chapter. We talk about the 10.8 verse. I think I refer to that verse here.
Yeah.
He is the origin and also the dissolution. So that's very important here. And yeah, he is the source and of the creation also. If you see in ultimately, as we also explained, that Mahavishnu just takes back everything, all the universe which is all created just by his breath. So he is the source of the origin, from him he comes and from him it goes.
The dissolution. Okay, so he explains about the two aspects of this nature. He can say Prabhava and Pralayaha. So Prabhava means origin, as Prabhu was explaining, 10.8, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava. Prabhava word you will see again and again. So Prabhava means originating. Pralaya, everyone knows annihilation. So Krishna is the cause of Prabhava and Pralaya, right? Now 7.7 Krishna said, not only that, actually, let me tell me my whole position. So let's look at the 7.7 after this. Any volunteers? Again, one of the most famous verses. We should know this. Okay, I can do this one. Mattaha parataram na anyat. So mattaha means me. Parataram. Parataram means we are comparing and we're saying upar kaun hai. So parataram, mere se upar, huh? Above than me. Na means no. Anyat. Anyat means anyone else. There's no one above and beyond to me. Huh? Krishna clearly saying. Now, it can sound like a very egoistic statement, isn't it? Main sabse bada hu. I am the highest one. Huh? We can say like that. But if it is a fact, it's a fact. If Prime Minister of India says, or Australia says, the highest position in this country is Prime Minister, and I am the Prime Minister. Will you laugh at that? It's a fact. So it's not necessarily to be taken as an egoistic statement, because you'll be looking at the verses in 10.12 and 13, where Arjun is saying, all the rishis, all the devatas, everyone is confirming that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna is not making an egoistic declaration here. Rather, it's a fact. Fact is a fact. And Krishna is just passing. Your father says to the son, I'm your father. And you look at the father, he looks very proud. No, I'm the father. So Krishna is saying, so mattah partram nanyat. And Arjun may say, maybe some rishis, some demigods here and there, kinchidasti, not even one, not even a slightest one. No one is above and beyond to me. So this is a very bold and universal statement which Krishna is making to Arjuna about his position. And what's the chapter's title here? Knowledge of the Absolute. So you can say now the real knowledge is starting. So first we read the glories about the knowledge, then we read how Krishna is the source of material world, and Krishna is the source of the living entity. We have not read yet about the spiritual potency. We'll talk about it later. So talk about the jiva, talked about the prakriti. Why we talk about these two? Because this is what we see, we deal with. We deal with jiva, we deal with prakriti on a day-to-day basis. So now Krishna is saying, actually, you know what? I am the source of everything, and no one is above and beyond to me. But Arjuna is saying, but I don't see you. Where are you? So Krishna explained, me, sarvam idam protam. I am involved in everything. Really? How? Sutre manigana eva. So manigana refers to like a beads, a necklace. Amongst necklace, you have two main components. You have beads and you have a thread. Unless you have a thread, you cannot imagine a necklace being a necklace. It's not possible. It can be a jewel, but cannot be a necklace. For a necklace, you need to have a thread. So thread presents the necklace as a one unit, as a one coherent unit. So unless a thread is there, you cannot have any functionalities attached, any sort of designs or jewelry. You can't imagine that. So thread is the very, very important piece. So similarly, but can you see the thread? Like we have this kantimala, we can't see the thread. If thread is seen, you'll say, Prabhuji, kantimala badal, change your kantimala. It doesn't look nice. You've lost some beads here. So beads is not seen, but thread is not seen, but it's very, very important component. So similarly, Krishna is not seen with the visual eyes, but it can be experienced. Now, how do you experience Krishna? That Krishna will explain in the next section, which goes from 7.8 to 7.12. Now, we're going to read today. Okay, so now this series, as I explained very quickly last time, there are 14 elements which Krishna is going to explain in these next 4 verses. So 8 will deal with 5 elements, 9 will deal with 4 elements, 10 will deal with 3, and 11 will deal with 2 elements. So it's, I think, 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2. So you can look in the verses, you will know. So I usually never cram, but I was just reading these verses before the class. Anyway, you will know, you don't need to cram this. It's just there in the verse itself, and it's not a part of Bhakti Shastri exam at the same time. So can I ask Priya Mataji to read 7.8? Welcome, joining from India. Mataji is in India right now.
Hare Krishna.
Ceiling fan, very hot weather. I thought it's cold in India.
No, south side, Prabhuji.
Okay, yeah.
Not north,
south.
yeah.
Souths are not cold. Okay, let's go 7.8.
Forgive me if I don't say this properly, Prabhuji. Rasoham apsu konteya.
Rasoham apsu konteya.
Pravasmi sashi surya.
Prabhasmi shashi suryayoha.
Pranava sarva vedeshu.
Pranavaha sarva vedeshu.
Shabdake parusham nashu.
Shabdake parusham nashu.
Translation: O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in man.
Thank you, Mataji. So there are 5 elements Krishna is explaining. Rasoham apsu konteya. So I am the taste. So apsu refers to water. Salil, jal, there's so many synonyms of water. So apsu is also one of the synonyms. So raso aham, aham means me, rasa means taste. I am the taste of water. So that's number one. Prabhasmi, Shashi. Shashi refers to Chandrama, moon. Surya refers to sun. Everyone knows that. So I am the Prabha, the light of sun and moon. So there's second element. Third is Pranavaha Sarva Vedeshu. Sarva Vedeshu of all the Vedas. Very simple. Pranava. Pranava refers to Omkar. So Om is also refers to as Pranav. I am Pranav amongst all the Vedas. Third element. Fourth, Shabda K. Shabda refers to the sound. K refers to ether. Anyone knows in Bhagavatam the reference for K? Very popular. Putana. Putana is referred in Bhagavatam as K-chari. Kha means ether. Chari means chalne wala. One who walks in ether means she was, in the Western culture, you see a broom and the witch is sitting on top of the broom. Putana actually was something like that. She was flying K-chari. K mein chalne wali. Anyway, we are not Kecharas. Demons are. So we sit on the ground. We are Bhumicharas. Anyway, Shabda K. So I am the sound in ether. The last fourth element. Fifth is Parusham Rishu. Rishu means nar or humans. And Parusham refers to ability. So there are 5 elements. What are the 5? Rasoham apsukonte. I am the taste of water. Second is I am the light of sun. Sun is Surya, Shashi is Chandrama, moon. Pranavaha, Omkar amongst all the Vedas. Number 3. Fourth, Shabda K. K refers to ether, Shabda sound, and the last one is ability in man. So Krishna is saying, I'm these 5. Let's go back and do a little context of this before we get inside these 5 different examples which Krishna is giving. So before we saw in 7.4 and 7.5, 7.4 Krishna says, Bhinna Prakriti Ashtada. So I am the source of the material nature, right? And then he says, I am the source of Para Prakriti, which is higher, which is marginal potency of Jivas. 7.5 says, I'm the Jivas, source of Jivas as well. Then Krishna says, I'm the origin and pralay, annihilation of everything. And then he says, Matta Partaram Nanyat Kinchidasi Dhananja, 7.7. So Krishna explained all these aspects. So basically, our acharyas have put Krishna's 2 aspects in a nutshell. We can say Krishna's transcendental aspect. So Krishna lives in Golok Vrindavan. It's not here. We are the material world, just on a very high level, we can say Krishna lives in Golok Vrindavan and we live in this material world. So there is one aspect of Krishna which is known as Para aspect. Para means beyond, higher, superior. So Krishna lives in Golok Vrindavan. So that is the transcendental aspect of Krishna. He does all the leelas there. And we live in this apara prakriti. Apara means inferior nature. And there is an immanence aspect. So transcendental aspect means which is beyond our sense perception. Krishna is called Adhokshaja. And immanence aspect is when Krishna is not only beyond the nature, but Krishna is within the nature. So when we say Krishna is living in Golok Vrindavan, can we say Krishna is not living here? That's not true. Krishna is living in every single atom. So 2 aspects are there. One is Krishna's transcendental aspect. One is called immanence aspect. Immanence means Krishna is living right with you. That is also true. And Krishna is living beyond you. That is also true. So Krishna is explaining in these series of verses 7.8 to 12 his immanence aspect, which is Krishna is living with you. You can experience Krishna all around you because you see. You drink water? Anyone drinks water here? Unless they're following Nirjala Ekadashi today, I'm sure they are not. We hardly can do one Ekadashi. I know there are some austere devotees who do every Ekadashi as Nirjala. I'm definitely not one of them. Maybe some are. So we drink water every day, many times a day. Do we see sun and moon every day? Almost. Now, I know Sydney is cloudy these days. We hope to see sun, but we can't see. But anyway, besides that, we see practically every day sun and moon. So Krishna is saying, I'm the Prabha, I'm the light of that. Krishna is saying, I'm the Om. So not that we all chant Om, but many transcendentalists chant Om. So we can experience Om as well. Shabda Ke. We all make sound every day, unless there's a Moni Baba amongst us. We keep speaking, actually, other persons of the family have to be a chup ho jao. Bahut bol liya. Sometimes they say in a soft way, sometimes they're in a harsh way. Stop, enough. Shabda Ke. We all make sounds. We all make sounds. And Parusham, we all show our ability. Actually, showing our ability is one of the biggest causes of disagreements, isn't it? I want to show my ability, the other person want to show their ability. And there's a clash. Whose abilities are higher? So, Paurushabrishu, Krishna is saying, actually, whatever abilities you have, I am the source of that. So let's read one by one. So Rasaham Apsukon, I'm the taste of water. What does it mean, I'm the taste of water? You may drink Mount Franklin. You may drink a spring water. Now the same water, if you go to India, what do you call Bisleri? Sundar Gopal Prabhu just came, Bisleri. So you go to India, you drink Bisleri water. Sometimes Bisleri is also filled with the tap water. It's worse than the tap water. So there are different names and different brands. You go to Vrindavan, the taste of water is very different. You go to Australia, it's different. I'm sure when you go to South India, it's very different taste, isn't it? So what does it mean by Krishna saying, I'm the taste of water? So Acharyas explain, it's not the physical taste which we experience by drinking the water. Otherwise, we'll say, are you the taste of Australian water or American water or Vrindavan water or Chennai water? So I'm the taste of water. What does it mean? I am present in the content of water, you can say, which gives taste to those things which we call tasty. So anything which we experience in our mouth, you put a gulab jamun, for example, I'm sure it brings some saliva here. So if your salivical glands, I don't know what you exactly call it, unless Manmohan Prabhu can help me. Saliva glands, Prabhu, what do you call it? Something specific?
There are 3 different kinds of salivary glands, but not going in details.
Hari bol.
But that's what they are. And,
yeah. But saliva
but we
glands
have taste buds as well.
Yeah.
On the tongue, so that gives us different kind of taste. There are 4 different kinds of taste buds on the tongue, so that's why we taste different things.
Yes. So Prabhu, if I'm not wrong, if the taste buds doesn't work or doesn't secrete the saliva, can you taste anything?
No, you won't be able to taste it unless the taste buds are actually working.
Yeah, and they're working, which means they secrete saliva, right?
Now, no, taste buds are not secreting saliva. Saliva is being secreted by the salivary glands. Okay. But the taste that which we are perceiving is because of the taste buds on the tongue.
Yeah.
Little bit technical difference.
Yes. Okay. Here we are. All these masters are there. But without the saliva, for example, if our mouth does not have a saliva, if I'm not wrong, Prabhu, the taste buds are there, we will not be able to taste that particular thing.
You can give the example of a jaundiced person, please.
Yes. A jaundiced person does not taste the sugarcane juice as sweet.
The saliva would act as a medium for that taste bud to experience the different textures. So that's what would do.
That's what Krishna is saying. So I am the taste of water, miss, and saliva, you can say in a simple layman language, is sort of water, isn't it? It's sort of a water. It may have some other chemicals, I don't know and don't want to know. So unless that exists in our mouth, can we taste anything? We can't taste. So Krishna is saying, I am the one who gives access to the taste. Suppose you eat a very nice gulab jamun or nice peda or nice laddu, motichur laddu, or some other dates laddu and all that. But unless your saliva is working, you cannot taste it, right? So the saliva, which is a form of water, for example, this is one example I'm giving, gives you access to the taste of that gulab jamun. Is that right? Is making sense? If the saliva is taken out of your mouth, you put the gulab jamun, you put motichur laddu, you say, kuch bhi taste nahi hai. There's no taste. But the taste is there in the same motichur laddu. So Krishna is saying, I am that facility, I am that ability which gives you access to the taste. You taste also very nice pizza, it's very nice dal makhni, whatever it may be. So Krishna is saying, I am that essence which gives you access to the taste. This is why it's called I am the taste of water. Without the watery thing, you cannot access to the taste. And Binay Prabhu is drinking nice Bisleri water, spring water, something. So we all become thirsty, and many times when we become thirsty, all we need is water. Then someone gives you nice palak paneer. Would you like to have it? Nahi bhaiya, pani de do. I just need water. Give me water, because water satisfies your thirst. So water is very, very important. Krishna is saying, I am the essence of that water, which has to be present for you to be able to taste anything. Prabhasmi Shashi Surya. Why Surya is popular? For 2 things. One is for the Prabha. Prabha means light. right? And moon is also popular for his light. And it says moon gives light to the veggies and medications so that they become useful. Nowadays, there's no taste in the vegetations. Why? Because they are not put into the moonlight so much. They've been taken out raw and then they're sold in the market with some gaseous elements. So the arm looks very ripe, kela looks very ripe. But you eat it, there's no taste. It still looks very, very raw. Moonlight is not given. So moonlight and sunlight, extremely important for human beings. Krishna is saying, I am that. So when you look at the Surya or Shashi or Chandrama, you can see, oh, that's Krishna's light. When you drink water, you can remember Krishna. You drink water 5 or 6 times a day, you can remember, oh, thank you, Krishna. It's so nice and so tasty water. Pranava Sarva Vedeshu. I am the Omkar amongst all the Vedas. So it says Omkar in one sense is the essence of all the Vedas. If you chant Omkar, you are actually chanting Krishna's name. But what sort of name, what sort of address Omkar does? Our acharyas have explained. Omkar is also addressed to Krishna, but it's an impersonal address to Krishna. Impersonal mean you call Indian Prime Minister when he walks in your room, suppose he does one day, everyone will be surprised, but suppose he walks in your house or room one day and you say, oh, head of India is coming here. Will that be a better address or it will be better? Narendra Modi ji is coming. Which one will be a better address for that person? When you walk in a room and someone says, oh, Manushya aa gaya, humans have come. You're like, was I not human before? I've just become a human. It will look very awkward, but are they wrong? Technically, they are right. But when they say, Mahasa Prabhu has come in, Vijay Gopi Mataji has come in, that looks very personal and very normal. At least they call it Prabhu has come or Mataji. The more the personal, the more the relationship. Mother may call Mahasa Prabhu, I don't know. Krishna or something at home. I don't know what your mother call you. Some nicknames are there that establishes more deeper relationship, isn't it? He may be a prime minister of India, but his mother may be calling him something, a very nickname. So name are loved by all of us. All of us loves our names, not our posts so much. For a good relation, I'm talking. So Krishna also is Bhagwan, is definitely a Bhagwan. He's Jagdishwar, he's definitely Jagdishwar. But when you call it Nanda Dulal, Yashomati Nandan, Krishna loves it. Girivar Dhari, Krishna loves that. So these are called primary names of Krishna, which are ingested with his Leelas. And the secondary names are like Bhagwan, Jagdishwar, Omkar. They're all also represented, but impersonal address to the same absolute. So in one sense, Pranava is also the mool sound, the original sound. But now what we are chanting, say Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Why? Because this is a Yuga Dharma. It's given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's why we are chanting. And also, last thing, Omkar is also added in all the Vedic mantras, which are very important. Like many of you, if you have a second initiation, you'll be chanting Gayatri mantras, all start from Om, Om, Om. That gives very seriousness to that mantra. So Krishna says, I am that mood. In the second last is Shabda Ke. So as I think Jai Prakash Prabhu was earlier explaining, there are 5 elements. So just repeat that very quickly. So we read, what are the 5 elements? Anyone can say? Tane Mataji, I'll get back to you after finishing. The 5 elements are Bhumi, earth, Bhumi Apa, Apa means Pani, water, Bhumi Apo Anulo, Anulo is fire, Bhumi Anulo, Vayu is wind or air, and Kham is ether. And each of these elements connects with another element, which is the unique sort of position of this element. So ether always connects with sound. If there is no ether, there's no space, can the sound travel? Now, just in modern scientific terminology, if you go to the moon, you cannot talk to each other. Why? You still have a mouth. You still know what to talk, when to talk, how much to talk, but you cannot talk. Why? The Vayu, that element which sort of transmits it is absent. So we can understand by this one little example. So ether has to be present to be able to transmit the sound. Similarly, when you go to the next element, so next element, for example, is air. So air will have the quality of the ether plus one its unique qualities. How do you experience air? By touch. Hawa bahut tej chal rahi hai. Have you seen it? No. Have you heard it? Sometimes, Vayu is very tej, but you can touch it. You can touch it. You can feel on your hair if you have some. So a lot of air. So by touch. So air will have 2 qualities. What are the 2 qualities air will have? Sound. Sound plus touch. Next element is water. So water will have the qualities of ether plus air. What are the qualities of ether and air? sound plus touch plus, actually next is fire, I'm sorry, next is fire. Plus fire will have another unique characteristic, which is you can see the fire as well. Huh? You can touch fire, yes or no? You can experience the fire, you can touch the fire, as well as you can see the fire. So another element which will come is sight. Next element is water. So water will have previous qualification plus you can taste the water. Can you taste the fire? Unless you are Krishna. Krishna could, he can drink the davanal. In 28th or 29th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, huh? He could drink. We can't. Huh? Even if the hot tea goes in our mouth, or what we speak, hot tea, hot aloo goes. I went to some program on Friday. I ate a aloo ka sabji. It was very hot. I'm still repenting. I should have waited. Huh? So we cannot take fire. We cannot. We just don't have that capacity. Huh? Krishna can do it. So fire has this extra element. Water has extra element of taste. Now, what is the next element? The last element is earth. Earth will have all the previous characteristics. Earth will have sound. Earth will have taste. Earth will have sight. You can see the earth. You can touch the earth. And the last one is you can smell the earth. Huh? Smell the earth. Huh? You cannot do that with fire. Try it out. I would say don't try it out. Huh? You cannot do that. So every element of this material nature is attached with another unique characteristic of it. So here, Krishna is talking about the first one, and the second verse, Krishna will talk about the Punyo Gandha Prithviyam Cha. Huh? We'll talk about the Gandha of Prithvi, smell, fragrance of Prithvi. Okay, Parusham Rishu. Parusham Rishu has two meanings. So one meaning of Parusham Rishu is the ability in man. So simple meaning, if you say, simple meaning means if you have any unique ability, you're a very good singer, you're a very good speaker, you're a very good cook, you look very good, huh? Whatever the good you have, Krishna is saying, Parusham Rishu, actually, I have given you that, isn't it? Krishna gives you the intelligence to speak, for example. Krishna gives you intelligence to cook, how to deal, you have very good communication skills and blah, blah, blah. Parusham Rishu. Another meaning, Acharyas I've explained, humans have a very unique capacity in itself. What is that? Which distinguishes them from another species. Huh? So we have 8.4 million species and humans are only 0.4 million, which is 400,000. What is the unique characteristics of human being which distinguishes them from another species? Anyone? Only, okay, Sakiratika Mataji is trying to say something.
Intelligence.
Intelligence to realize Krishna and go back to Krishna. A dog cannot do that. Cat cannot do that. Aquatics cannot do that. Trees cannot do that. Huh? Even demigods, technically speaking, huh? Practically speaking, they're not able to do it. Only humans can realize Krishna. So only humans have that ability. So rare. Durlabham manusham janma. Tadapi adruvam arthadam. Prahlad Maharaj says, Durlabham manusham janma. Manush janma is very, 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 very rare. Durlabh, very, very durlabh. So that ability of controlling the senses, realizing Krishna and going back to Godhead is only given to Rishu, humans. So there are two meanings of Parusham Rishu. So one is any unique capacity you have, that's given by Krishna. Plus, in general, every human has that capacity to be able to realize Krishna and go back to Godhead. Okay. 7.9. So this is 7.8 where we looked at the 5 examples. Now, before we go to 7.9, Tanya Mataji's question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. My question might be a bit of a sidetrack or very basic, but then when Krishna is saying in verse 7.8 that I am the light of sun and moon, that means he's present in that moonlight every day. So then why only on certain days? For example, on the first day of Kartik, we would put kheer outside in moonlight. Why not? Why isn't every other day auspicious as well?
Yeah. So Mataji's question is why on the what's called
Sharad Purnima.
Sharad Purnima. Thank you, Mataji. Sharad Purnima. We put the kheer outside. No, why not every day? So in general, Mataji, Krishna is making the statement, I am the sun and moonlight, because you need it or you recognize moon or sun, their important characteristic is their light. So Krishna is saying in general. Now, in general also, like 365 days a year, you have this Purnima and you have this Amavas. So up and down is happening in the nature. But whenever you see moon, you'll attach moon with this light for its unique characteristic. Moonlight is so good. It's been praised by all the poets and all the even Hollywood movies. I'm sorry, Bollywood movies. also, explaining the glories of moonlight. So Krishna is saying, I am that moonlight. So it's not like on Sharad Purnima, Krishna is not present and Krishna is only present on other days, or Krishna is only present on Sharad Purnima, not like that. But in general, the light of sun and moon is me. So when you see sun and moon, you recognize their position because of their light. That light is me. So that light should remind you about Krishna. That's what it essentially said. Now, in Sharad Purnima, the intensity of that is much more. But Krishna's presence is there 365 days a year. So,
Okay, Prabhuji.
yeah.
Hare
Thank you. Manmohan Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Sorry, Prabhu, I might be asking a bit, off topic, but my understanding is Krishna is explaining all these these features are actually Brahman features.
Brahman features.
Brahman features, and if you can elaborate a little bit more on the three forms, and because I think we were going to discuss in second chapter as well, and this keep coming back to me, and I just want to have the full concept, clarified, because in in a lot of lectures I've heard that all the three features are they are absolute truth. They are different aspects, but they have the same quality, and we are still the difference is Achinta Bheda on that conception. So still not very clear that in some lectures said that when you realize Brahman, then you only understand the Sat feature of the Lord. To understand in full, you have to go to the Bhagwan feature.
Yes.
So when they are absolutely same, why don't we understand the three, all the three features of absolute truth?
Yeah.
Why only that feature?
Yeah. They are not absolutely same. They are absolute truth, but they're not absolutely same. Prabhupada gave two examples. I'll just quickly give because that sort of put the things in perspective. Prabhupada gave the example of a mountain. If you see mountain from very far distance, it just looks like a very cloudy thing. Nothing much you can see. But when you go close to a mountain, you can see, oh, there's some trees are there, some big trees, small trees. But when you go inside the mountain, you can see not only trees are there, the leaves are also there. There's some birds is also there. So as you go close to the mountain, the clarity of the mountains begins more and more in your mind. Both gives example of sun rays and sun god as well. It's the same thing. So sun rays is example of Brahman. Sun globe is the example of, say, Paramatma feature, and sun Bhagwan, say Vivaswan in this case, a person is the Bhagwan feature. So when you go into these, so can you separate sun rays with sun? You can't. When the sun rays are there, sun has to be there, and when the sun is there, sun rays will be there. It's not separated. So you cannot separate the Brahman feature, for example, from Bhagwan aspect, from the absolute truth. But your realization of the sun can be different based on your understanding. If you're a little boy, you can say, कभी-कभी इंडिया में कहते हैं ना, sun तो हमारे घर में आता है. The windows are so big, sun comes in our room, but practically the sun comes in your room. No, the sunlight is coming in your room. But sunlight and sun, in one sense, they are very used as a synonym sometime as well. So many times Brahman and Bhagwan is also used as synonym, which is not wrong, because sun rays or Brahman is coming from Bhagwan. So like that, but they are different as per our understanding. So some people will understand mountain as just a cloudy thing, some blurry thing far away. Some people understand it as a tree structure, a greeny tree structure. And some people understand, no, there's animals there, and animals will have their family. There's a male bird, there's a female bird, there's a little baby bird. And there will be a mango tree, there will be a orange tree, and blah, blah, blah. There's so many varieties inside that mountain. So much is happening. Someone is killing another animal. Some birds are singing sweetly. Some part of the mountains you'll experience some rain. Some part will be very, very hot. Yeah, so much variety, so many leelas, so many things are going on in that mountain based on our understanding. Now the leelas is not going on in the mountain right now, but what we understand can be different than what is the actuality. So like phenomenal knowledge and numinous knowledge, which we read earlier. Just in a nutshell, does it make sense?
Yes, it does, Prabhu.
Yeah.
But still not being able to understand, why only we're seeing the Sat feature in the Brahman? Why am I not seeing the other?
Like Prabhu, you just explained about your saliva glands and 4 types and 5 types. If you ask me, everything is one. Sorry, in that sense. I'm just a very layman. All I understand is some saliva, some glands are there. But you will say, Nani Prabhuji, there are some here and some there, and there are taste buds and there are saliva glands. You understand that part much deeper than me, to be very honest, right? So based on our understanding, the knowledge will be revealed. So you can reveal that part of knowledge very nicely. I can't. I just don't have that understanding. It does not mean the same functions are not present in my mouth. They are present in my mouth and as well as your mouth, other person's mouth. But what my understanding is very, very low than your understanding. So similarly, pure devotee's understanding of God is much different in that sense rather than a layman's. But as we progress, which we are doing right now, we get to know more and more and more and more. And one day, hopefully, we'll also know Krishna in Tattvataha. Is that okay? So
Thank you, Prabhuji.
slow progression, which we are making right now. Okay, thank you. Nice question.
Thanks.
Prabhuji is always asking very intellectual questions because he's a very intellectual person. No, good, Prabhuji. 7.9, maybe Manmohan Prabhuji, you can read. Or if Shraddha Mataji is there, she can read.
She's just with Vaishnavi Prabhu.
No problem.
Already.
All good.
Thanks. Punyogandha pratvayam cha
Punyogandha pratvayam cha
tejas chashmi vibhavaso
tejas chasmi vibhavaso
jivanam sarvabhuteshu
jivanam sarvabhuteshu
tapas chasmi tapasvishu.
tapas chasmi tapasvishu.
Translation: I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat and fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of all ascetics.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So Punyo Gandha Prithvyam. So we just discussed Prithvi will have all the aspects of the previous elements plus its own aspect, which is the fragrance. Anyone can tell the 5 unique characteristics of Prithvi, which we just discussed like 5 minutes ago. So what are the 5 unique characteristics? Okay, 4 common and 1 unique. I should rather say that way. So Earth will have 5 things.
Sound.
There are the Tanmatras. It's not difficult to remember. Tanmatras. Yes, Earth will have
taste.
sound, which is from, sound is from ether.
Ether, yeah.
After ether, what comes? Air, which has touch. Thank you, Jayaprakash Prabhu. So Earth will have sound plus touch. Thank you. Third element is fire, which will have extra of sight. Earth has sight as well. Thank you. After fire, what comes? Water, which has extra element of taste. We can taste the water. And the 5th is earth, which has all the 4 plus fragrance, nice fragrance. So Punyo Gandha. So we discussed when the first rain comes, especially in monsoon in India. Here, I cannot say what is the first rain. Whole year it's raining. So you cannot say first rain. India is very different sometimes. Like Narad Muni went to Kansa and says, gave the lotus flower. Can you count the petals of this lotus flower? He says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He said, start from the next one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Start from the third one. 1, 2, 5, 3. Which is the first and which is the 8th? Like in Australia, we don't know which is the first rain and the last rain. Whole year is the rain. Okay, so Punya Gandha refers to that very unique fragrance of earth. Acharyas have given a second meaning as well of this Punya means all the nice fragrances which earth gives to those. For example, if you plant, anyone has rose in their garden? It's difficult. Raghi Mataji has. What kind of roses you have, Mataji?
I have different colors, Prabhu, pink and white and red, yellow,
You should come
white.
to your place, get it for Radha Gopinath. What else you have if you don't know Mataji in your backyard?
I have got dahlias. I've got dahlias.
Dahlias, okay.
Pannies.
And frangipani?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Let's take these 3 examples. Mataji, Raghi Mataji lives somewhere in Ponds in that area. She has a big or small backyard. She has 3 types of flower: rose, dahlia, and frangipani. Right? When you started gardening these trees, Mataji, or plants, whatever you want to call it, you put a seed or a stem, whatever way it was. Did you personally give different fragrances to these 3 different flowers? Did you supply any chemical for that? All you did, you put the seed or the stem, whatever was in that case, and who gave the fragrance, that unique fragrance to frangipani or rose or dahlia? earth. Huh? So our Acharya explains, earth is the one. You sow a Karela seed and an alm seed. What comes out of the Karela seed? A alm tree. If you put bitter gourd, a mango tree will come out. Anyone has done that experiment? No. A bitter gourd tree, if grown, will give what? Bitter gourd. Karela ka tree, Karela hi dega. For alm ka tree, alm ka seed, if you put a mango seed, will give mango. Who is differentiating all that? That's Prithvi. So Prithvi is the one who gives the unique fragrance to all these which exist. Just amazing example, huh? We just put and kitni achhi mehak hai, the fragrance is so nice. But who is giving that fragrance? Punyo Gandha Prithvyam. So Krishna is saying that fragrance, the unique fragrance which every single plant has, that unique is given by me to Prithvi, and Prithvi supplies to this plant. Such a nice connection. So whenever next time you smell a flower, you should remember Krishna. Thank you, Krishna, for giving this flower such a unique smell, which I can just enjoy and relish after offering to Gopinath. That is given by Krishna. That's the first one. Tejas.
Prabhu, sorry.
Yeah.
So Ojas Shakti is also the same.
So Ojas is also Teja. Ojas is Teja, like Ojaswini power, Tej power. It's not fragrance power. It's a Oja. Oja means Tej. Tej
But
means you can say bravery.
somewhere in chapter 13, Krishna also says, due to my Ojas Shakti, these plants and...
Yeah, so that is Krishna's Ojas Shakti, not Prithvi's Ojas Shakti. Huh? Okay. Krishna's bravery, you can say. Ojas, you can say a simple translation, bravery. Huh? Krishna's unique potency, which gives to these different elements, and that elements became beautiful for our consumption. Huh? We are consuming from earth. So earth is a via media, but who has given that power to earth? Krishna. Huh? So earth is giving that, but the power is given by Krishna. Okay.
Thank you.
Tejas Shasmi Vibha Bashav. So Vibha refers to fire. Vibha also has other meanings, but here Prabhupada has taken the meaning of fire. So I am the heat in fire. So previous verse Krishna was talking about Prabhasmi Shachi Surya. Prabha means sun rays or moon rays, and he is talking about the heat. Sun is known, for example, for two things. One is the sun ray, light, and another one is heat. So heat is coming from the fire. So whenever you are in cold weather, what do? You lit up some sort of fire, not like a simple fire. Nowadays, we have very sophisticated ways for lighting up the fire, air conditioning and all that. But there's a fire element which you get attracted to. So that unique element which attracts you towards the fire, especially in the winter weather, you go to India, especially you go to a village side, they will have, fire lit up somewhere, and the 10 village walas will be sitting around the fire. And you also go and sit there and talk, and you put some sweet potato and some brinjals and all that, So that attraction which fire has, that is given by Krishna. So Tejas Asmi Vibhavasha. And if the fire is not strong, can you cook the food? For example, in a particular temperature, you cannot cook. So that Tejas of the fire is given by Krishna. If you have to bake a potato, I was baking something the other day. I put the temperature too low because I didn't understand it. And I was looking at my sweet potato on Ekadashi. It's been half an hour, nothing is happening. So then I realized the temperature is too low. So you have to increase the temperature. Particular temperature is needed. So that is for the cooking. And for us, what is the temperature we need? 16 rounds at least. If you do not have the temperature of 16 rounds every day, what will happen? Khichdi will not be cooked. It will be uncooked, half-baked. You'll be like a dead person. If you put 16 rounds, yes, then khichdi will be very, very nice. And if you put nice masala, what is the nice masala? You sit in the morning, you just chant with the full concentration of Krishna, then the khichdi comes out. Super tasty, super tasty. If you chant in the night, 10 o'clock, finishing your rounds, after finishing all the work and looking at your bed, so beautiful bed. Just after 3 more rounds, I'll be going to bed. The taste is not so good. Taste is not so good. So that Teja is given by Krishna. Jivanam sarvabhuteshu. Sar refers to all, Bhuteshu refers to Jiva. Who is giving us the life? Krishna, isn't it? It's very clear. Like we are talking from obviously Vedic perspective here. We have a soul which is the source of your movements. If the soul comes out, you are dead. And who is giving this energy to the soul? Super soul. Soul is representing that minute energy of the super soul. Now, if the super soul does not give the energy to the soul, soul cannot give the energy to the body. And then how will the body move? And the example is when the soul moves out, super soul moves out, your same body, which may be, a prime minister of a country is dead. No one wants to see that body. No one wants to touch that body. That body is dead. You may be prime minister. Who cares? That main element, Jivan element, is gone. Life is gone. And that is given by Krishna. Tapaschasmi, tapasvishu. So all the tapasvi who are very, tapasvi means austere, people doing tapasya means austerity. The attraction which comes, like I was giving the example of Nirjala Ekadashi, many devotees do that. Do they look attractive? Yes, they do actually. Amongst our devotee community, a simple example, if someone doing Nirjala Ekadashi, doing 64 rounds on Ekadashi, Prabhuji, or Mataji, whatever, he is unique. Huh? So who is giving him or her the ability to do the austerity? Krishna is saying, I am that ability. That's why we should never be proud. Radhanath Maharaj said in one class, we should, Charu Maharaj also said that we should never open up our austerities to others, unless it's for a preaching purpose or something. We should never say, oh, you know what, I've been chanting 64 rounds every Ekadashi, last 30 years. As soon as you say that, it says your tapa will be there, but the divyata, the transcendental capacity of that tapa will be gone. So we should try to make a divya tapa. Divya tapa means for the pleasure of the Lord. And as soon as we disclose it to others, especially in a little bit pride, the divyata, the transcendental version, the main attractiveness is gone. Now, if you want to talk about austerities, I read in one example in when you remember Vishwamitra Muni visited Vasishtha Muni's ashram. Everyone know the fight. Vishwamitra Muni that time was a king. He visited Vasishtha Muni's ashram and everyone was doing big tapasya. So there is described, there were some yogis who were living on the air. So all they will intake the body is the air. They were so austere. Some yogis were living on water. Some yogis were living on leaves. So the people who were living on leaves were considered the lowest. You are the lowest person. You're living on leaves? Now imagine if someone amongst us is doing austerity like living on the leaves. You will be paying Dandavat. Prabhuji, how do you get this strength? Now we have one Mohit Prabhu here who can do big austerity. 5 days of Bhishma Panchak, only he can do. At least I can never even dream about it, but there are people who, so Krishna is saying, I give them power to do that tapas. So we can never become proud on our so-called austerities, because if Krishna doesn't give power, we'll be falling down on the one devotee was telling me, I used to do Ekadashi in a very nice way, but nowadays he cannot do it. He's a little older, and he said, Prabhu, I get dizzy, I get unconscious, so I have to drink water. It's fine, because that's why it's not our capacities. Krishna gave us for some time that capacity, and then Krishna took it away. Now body is old, you have to drink water, you may have to not even do half day Ekadashi. They start taking breakfast in the morning, but that's perfectly fine. Austerity is not just the only definition to achieve Krishna, it's one part of it. So tapaschasmi, tapasvisu. Okay, next one. So how many elements we have read so far? 7.8, how many elements we read? Anyone? Fatafat? 5. 7.9? 4. And now 7.10, how many? Descending order.
3.
5, 4, 3, 2. Okay. So 7.10, who will read? Satyabhama Mataji?
Bijam mam sarvabhutanam.
Bijam mam sarvabhutanam.
Viddhi partha sanatanam.
Viddhi partha sanatanam.
Buddhir buddhimatam asmi.
Buddhir buddhimatam asmi.
Tejas tejasvinam aham.
Tejas tejasvinam aham.
O son of Pritha, know that I am the original seed of all existences, the intelligence of the intelligent and the prowess of the powerful men.
Thank you, Mataji. So here we are reading 3 elements. So 5, 4, 3. Bijam mam sarvbhutanam. So I am the bija, the seed of all the bhutas. So all the bhutas refers to obviously human beings and cats and dogs and trees and aquatics, everything. So every single species, where it comes from, aham sarvasya prabhu. So bijam mam sarvbhutanam. Now, in this material world, what are the properties of the bija? As I was discussing about Karela bij and Aam bij. From Karela bij, only Karela will come out. From Aam bij, only Aam will come out. But Krishna is such a bij, all types of deities come out. Like Am also comes from Krishna, Karela also comes from Krishna, Manushya also comes from Krishna, dog also comes from Krishna, and demigods comes from Krishna. So Krishna is a very, very unique bij. Another property in the material world of a bija is when a bija gets converted to a plant. Can you see the bija? You go to the bottom of a moong, when you soak moong, you germinate the moong, which many devotees do. After a while, when the plant comes, the bija disappears. Krishna is such a bija which never disappears. After giving Am, Karela, Neem, everything gives out, he remains as it is. Huh? That is Krishna. Huh? So two meanings are there here. Bija Mamsar Bhutana, Vidhi Parsanata. And that is happening from how much time? It started from 2021 onwards when the corona came. Sanatanam. Krishna is been doing this from Sanatan, from eternity. Second element, second example in this was Buddhir Buddhimatam Asmi. I was speaking about some intellect. Some people are very, very intellect. Some people very intellect. Only Manmohan Prabhu can study for 18 years. He was telling me, Prabhuji, I've been studying for 18 years. I don't want to study anymore. I said, how come you have that much patience of studying 18 years? I went to uni in Australia at least for 2 years. Actually 1.5 years. Somehow I got the credit for one semester. And the day I was finishing my studies, I said, I will never see the face of uni again. Can't take it. This teachers, exams, this and that, assignments. But I never knew Krishna will arrange another thing for me where I have to teach and deal with assignments and students. Anyway, Krishna has his own plan. We have our own plan. Krishna has his own plan. Anyways, I didn't like studying too much. I still don't like too much. So, Buddhir Buddhimata must be. So, if you are very, very intellect, don't be proud of that. Krishna is giving that intellect. I saw one video someone sent me on WhatsApp. Sachin Tendulkar was talking to a boy who was very intelligent. What do you call that? That cube which has different colors. You can the cubics you call it cubics. Huh? This boy was so intelligent. He put this cubics on his head. He turned in so many different ways, and Sachin Tendulkar was taking the video. And he stopped for like 2 seconds or 3 seconds. And then he rearranged in a proper order without looking even one. Super intelligent person. You give me a cubics and give me 10 days and lots of prashadam, I will never be able to arrange even a simple one. No intelligence, practically speaking. Huh? People are intelligent. People are intelligent. Vishwanathan Anand, I think, huh? That's the name. He defeated the computer in the chess. Wow. So, Buddhir Buddhimatam Asmi. And how long Krishna will give, that we don't know. Huh? What is called Muhammad Ali, who made this challenge. No one can stand before me for 90 seconds or something like that. 60, I can't remember. He had so much power. The same Muhammad Ali, I heard in lecture actually, same Muhammad Ali could not lift a cup of coffee later in his life. Huh? Where the strength is gone. The strength was given, the strength was taken away. Huh? Buddhi is given, Buddhi will go away. Don't have trust in your Buddhi. I know a lot of verses. I know a lot of knowledge about Shastra. That's not needed to know Krishna, to love Krishna. Huh? That's a part of it in that journey. That if that is helpful, very nice. If it's not helpful, it can go against us actually. So there is no need for being proud of our knowledge. Huh? Sometimes it can backfire us as well. Buddhir Buddhimatam Asmi. And the last one is
Prabhu, actually, I've seen if you're given too much intelligence, you use it to question Krishna's existence only.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Sometimes super intellect is also it's very hard to train. Very hard to train. Be
very
humble.
Hard.
One devotee was telling, I don't know how to play mridanga, to be honest. Some of you would know. And this devotee didn't know how to play very nicely. So he was playing one day. I said, you play very nicely. I literally said, because I felt like that. He said, no, Prabhu, I do not know how to play very nicely. And it's very nice. He said to me, very nice. He said from his heart. He said, Prabhu, I'm so thankful to Krishna. I don't know how to play mridanga very nicely. Because if I know to play very nicely, I'll become proud. I said, it makes sense actually. It makes sense. Not always. Many cases, I'm talking in general. We become proud of our super ability, unique ability. So we are very, very thankful to Krishna. Everything is in the middle. Some pain is there, some pleasure is there, some dhan is there, some lacking in our life is there, some health is there, some health issues are there. We are so thankful to Krishna for putting us in the middle. That's why Spakthvi Loka, in the middle, is the way to go back to Godhead. Not Narak Loka, not Sark Loka. So we are so thankful to Krishna for everything he has done to us. He's given us chashma, he's given us no hair or a lot of hair. Everything, if you meditate on, we will become thankful to Krishna because he is so kind. So anytime he gives a little something higher, we come, mujhe aata hai. I know, I'm better than you. As soon as you get this feeling, you're finished. You're finished. Huh? Very thankful to Krishna. Thank you, Charu Mataji. And Tejas Sunam. So I am the Teja. You see some people, they look very tej, and you can see on the sannyasi's face as well. So materially, they don't have anything, but spiritually, you can see the face of a sannyasi, even on a hospital bed, he'll be shining like anything, shining like anything. So teja is the presence of Krishna. Krishna saying that teja or any other teja in that perspective comes from me. Sakhi Mataji.
True, I literally forgot I had written something. Forgot, sorry.
Sorry,
Just on what Charu
Huh?
just on Charu Mataji, what Mataji was saying, I wanted to share. Yeah, I remember now. So it was that Yamuna Mataji, once she was giving a lecture for girls, and she said that Prabhupada writes that women are less intelligent, and she said that it's a boon for us. We don't question Krishna, and we are simple, and Krishna likes simple people.
Yes.
Simplicity is one of the qualities Krishna. So she was motivating the women. So I remember that point. So she said, we are very most fortunate that we are in a women body if we utilize it in the proper way. That's what she
Very
said.
nice, Mataji. I never heard that explanation in the past. A woman is speaking that is very.
I'm just
Mataji.
repeating your words.
Yeah, miss, you are repeating what Mataji said, but very nice explanation. And we should remember, so whatever position we are in, we should try not to complain, It's arrangement of Krishna, and he is our dear Pastor. Thank you, Mata. Very nice.
About this Buddhi Mata, which you were saying, I recently met Deen Bandhu Prabhu, and he was explaining that I was very very humbly, he was telling that I was very proud of remembering all the shlokas. And he said that, I can see Prabhu. Is Prabhu gone?
I'm here.
Sorry, Prabhu. My screen just...
That's okay.
So he said that I was very proud. I used to remember all the shlokas. I was very good with the verses. And he said, and Prabhupada was also used to be very happy with me because, like he said, now my age is such, I don't even remember the names of most of the characters in the from Bhagavatam. But he said that if we just do the process, getting up in the morning, reading, even if we don't remember, it's okay. It is not our duty. We should not be tensed about whether we'll remember Krishna or not at the right time. When you're following for the process works, that's what he was telling. The process of Prabhupada will work. And he said, have faith in the process, just keep on doing it. And he said, it is now, when you will be sincerely doing it every day, then it will become Krishna's tension. We have to remember him. He will come and tell us, oh, please remember me, you're doing this so much. So it was very simple. He told it in a very simple, like a Brajavasi tells, but it was very heavy thing to, so that's why I was thinking that Krishna is giving the buddhi, and then this is what he was explaining, that sometimes you might feel, oh, we know so much, we can relate and all that. He said, doesn't matter. I used to know so much. Now I don't remember. He was telling.
Another devotee also had the similar realization. He's 65 now. He was saying, now I can't remember any shlokas. So, yeah, thank you, Mataji, for sharing. But just on a lower picture, Bhakti Shastri students are recommended to remember shlokas. No, I'm just kidding. Satyabhama Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, as we said, Krishna gives us the intelligence, and so even if the person is intelligent, and he gives that intelligence for a long time, for a lifetime, but that intelligent person is not using his or her intelligence for Krishna or as a Krishna conscious process, that intelligence is basically wasted, isn't it?
Definitely, it's the result of your material punya. So you become a scientist or big famous personality because of some uniqueness. That's a punya. Simple as that. You become famous, you rich, or become very Rupwan, very beautiful looking. It's all the result of punya. There's nothing much to it. To be very honest, you'll get punya and punya will be taken away. You're rich today, tomorrow you'll be poor. You are very beautiful today, tomorrow you'll be a very simple person. So that's not nothing much. But if they use that richness or knowledge or beauty for glorifying Krishna, then it's a devotional act. Otherwise, it's just a material act, because these are all material. Intellect is material, as we read that in 7.4. So our man, our ahankar, it's all product of material energy.
So one should not worry or matter about whether he or she has less intelligence or more intelligence. Whatever Krishna has given, we should just try to use that in best.
Exactly. As Sakhi Radhika Mataji was also saying, we just need to follow the process and try to please our spiritual master. To be very honest, that's a definition. It's not a matter of how many shlokas you learn, how many dishes you know how to cook, how much fast you can decorate the deity. Honestly, follow the instruction of spiritual master. That's why it says very simple. Radheshyam Prabhu gives very simple. Just follow the instruction of your spiritual master and please him. If he says, Mataji, you cook a lot, suppose, then you cook a lot. Mataji, you study a lot, whatever. That's it. It's none of your business, to be honest, to judge you on the basis of, or judge you or anyone else on the basis of shloka, on the basis of intellect, or how fast this person can move and how he looks, or, you know, it's none of our business. Our only business is to ask our special master, Guru Maharaj, how can I please you? And he will guide you in that particular hierarchy, wherever we are. If you are very neophyte, he will give a generic instruction. If you are very close and sort of advanced, then he will give you a specific instruction. And that's it you have to do. Nothing else, actually. The shloka, cooking, reading, giving classes, kirtan, it's all to please our spiritual gurus. That's all. If they are happy with our services, one more thing I'll share, then we'll stop. I heard from Radheshyam Prabhu, sorry, Gauranga Prabhu, very nice thing. Very recently, he said, when we do anything, Krishna conscious, we are talking from our desire. I am so good in speaking, so I should give class, for example. That becomes a karma. But if some of our seniors say, Prabhuji, you give class, that becomes a seva. So don't do karma, do seva. I am good in cooking, I'll show the devotees how great I am. No, actually, that's karma. That's karma. So seva will be given by your spiritual master or representative of spiritual master, our senior devotees in the temple. You do that in a humble mood to please them. That's all. It is so simple. Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness is so simple. You might just miss it. It's so simple. All you have to do, please Krishna, means please your spiritual master. How to patram pusham phalam toyam. It is so easy. We make it super complex. We make it super complex. But because we are super complex things are given. Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti about this and that. Because hope is by reading and studying these books written by Prabhupada, given by Krishna, we will come closer to Krishna in a real sense. Not because I've got 93% marks. Anyway, let's stop here. I know it's a nice topic. We could only do Sundar Prabhu 3 verses today. He's not very happy. Sorry, Prabhu, what to do? They are so nice. 7th chapter, I love 7th chapter. And we can actually go much deeper. But anyway, so we'll continue doing it next week. If you have any questions, please write it, or any point for sharing. I'm really very grateful, devotees, sharing all these nice points, because this is our nourishment. Don't think about, honestly, the target of covering how many verses and this and that. This is our nourishment when we sit and glorify Krishna, get realization of different devotees. This is our real nourishment. So thank you for nourishing me and nourishing other devotees as well. So we'll continue our discussion next week from 7.11 onwards. Any main thing, Sundar Prabhu, you want to sort of announce?
Nothing for now, Prabhuji.
Okay. Actually, one thing comes to my mind, which Ghanshyam Prabhu said, so I'm just sharing with everyone. So this year, Ghanshyam Prabhu said, we'll be a little more tough on the attendance. So if you please try to attend all the classes as best as possible. If you miss it for some reason, please listen to the YouTube lecture. Please don't understand I'm saying about me. It's not about, definitely not me. It's Prabhupada and temples, Radha Gopinath. But Prabhu said, so listen to the lecture and inform Sundar Prabhu within a week time, so he can give you attendance. Obviously, this cannot be done on a regular basis, only on an emergency basis. So otherwise, if you miss it, the week guideline, then even if you listen to the lecture after, say, 3 months, your attendance will be considered as 0. So please follow if you could this year, just for the sake of reading Prabhupada books. So within a week, please listen to the recording and just drop a line to Sundar Prabhu that I have heard the recording for week 10 or 11, whatever it is. Okay. So let's stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari.
Hari Hari. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you very
Krishna.
much.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama.